Welcome to Tales of Resilience, a podcast honoring the heart behind animal rescue. I'm your host, Jolene Feeney, a mental health therapist, lifelong animal lover, and founder of Zodipaws and Animal Rescue Hub. This is a space for real conversations with the people who care for animals when no one else can. From shelter teams and wildlife rehabbers to transporters, vet techs, and nonprofit leaders. We talk about the joy, the grief, the burnout, and the moments that remind us why we keep showing up. Whether you've lived this work or just want to understand it more deeply, thank you for listening. Let's get into today's story. This episode may include references of animal suffering and death, as well as themes of mental health, including suicide. Welcome to Tales of Resilience. I'm your host, Jolene, and today I'm joined by Micki Simone from West Columbia Gorge Humane Society, an independent nonprofit based in Washougal, Washington. And since 1994, the West Columbia Gorge Humane Society has been a safe haven for animals in need, supported by a small but mighty staff and over 200 dedicated volunteers. Their work is rooted in the belief that every animal is an individual with a story worth honoring. In 2013, Micki lost her best friend to cancer, a woman who was larger than life and who shared with Micki a deep love for animals. In the wake of that heartbreak, Micki stepped into a new chapter. She began volunteering at West Columbia Gorge Humane Society in Washougal as a way to honor her friend's legacy and redirect her own grief into something meaningful. What started as an act of healing became a calling. Now, years later, Micki plays a vital role in an organization that saves thousands of animals, supports an entire community of pet lovers and adopters. So welcome to the podcast, Micki.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Well, happy to start this conversation with you. And as we were kind of starting our conversation, pre-podcast, we were talking about your setting right now. You're in your car, and that's unexpected. That's not where you were hoping to meet with us. But again, I think it's on point for the discussions that we're having about the demands on your time and your energy in this work that we're doing. So I appreciate you showing up no matter what in this space. So I appreciate you.
Yes. Like I said to you when we first started, I plan and God laughs. I try very hard to be organized and efficient with my time. And that doesn't always happen. And, you know, you and I have been trying to get together to do this podcast for 3 months now. And whether it's an animal trying to die, you know, at the shelter, or, you know, I have a sick kid because I'm a working mom, trying to juggle all of the demands of being a wife and a mom and the executive director of we're a small nonprofit, but it's still very busy and very chaotic. Like I said, best laid plans, God laughs, and it turns to mush on me. And I find myself doing a podcast in the Walgreens parking lot in my car. But I like to think of myself as being flexible.
Yes.
Right? I say that to myself. I'm like, you are flexible. You are not rigid. Our Humane Society is very small. It's located in Washougal. There isn't even a space for me to sit down and work. So I usually work out of my car. My coworkers call it my carfus. I work from home. I work from coffee shops. I will work from anywhere.
Yeah, it sounds like flexibility is basically a job requirement for you at this point.
Yes, and I am driven by helping animals. Saving lives, helping pet parents find resources to hold on to their pets. You know, we're seeing a lot of that nowadays. People, are having a hard time affording anything at this point because of the rising costs, and especially right now with the federal government shutdown, there's a lot of people that are not getting assistance that they're used to getting. And the sad thing is that there's people that have to choose, am I going to feed my kid or am I going to feed my dog? Right? And when you have a pet, that pet is a family member. It's just another child. It's a fur baby.
Yeah.
And that is a very difficult position to be in for a lot of people. And so our West Columbia Gorge Humane Society likes to be there to help and to provide people with resources when they hit tough times, because otherwise they face giving up their animal, or if there's a medical problem, maybe euthanizing the animal because they can't afford it. And that's heartbreaking.
Yes. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, especially for people who, elderly people or veterans, people who are alone, or a single mom or a single dad, and they have kids, and the glue that holds that family together is that pet,
Yeah.
right? So it's very important to us right now, to make sure that people are getting the assistance and resources that they need in order to be able to hold on to their animals.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I know it's certainly I mean, people in need is not a unique issue, but the
Nope.
shutdown and certainly the lengths of these shutdowns as they go on, right, become
Yep.
more unique situations, and that it increases the demand. And I don't think,
Yeah.
people think about, sometimes that trickle down and how it impacts.
It's a domino effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. And it's uh it's tough right now. You
Yeah.
know, even I tell people throughout history, there are populations of people that are chronically impoverished or low income, right? And they struggle. But then it seemed like during the pandemic, you had middle class people who, they were able to pay their bills, they were able to stay on top of things to a certain extent, or at least keep up with things.
Yeah.
And then somebody gets sick with COVID, or they get their hours cut because they are a non-essential business and the state shut them down. So that's when we really started seeing people who normally could afford dog food, cat food, wellness visits at the vet, even maybe an unforeseen complication that the animal had and they needed, a surgery or something. At that time, we really started seeing people not be able to afford it. And over the years, people would come to not just us, but other rescue organizations and say, I can't afford my pet. I can't afford this expensive surgery. I don't want to euthanize my pet. And the rescue organization would take the pet, right?
Yeah.
They would pay for the surgery. They'd fix up the animal and turn around and adopt it out to somebody else. And the sad part is that that animal had an owner. And
Mhm.
I mean, as long as it's a good owner, right? Like they're
Yeah.
taking good care of their pet, why should they have to be separated? Right? This person was looking out for their animal, coming to a rescue organization, looking for help. The rescue organizations didn't have the community support programs that we have now to help people in those situations. So we just kept taking animals in. And then during the pandemic, it was like, wait a second, we need to help, right? Like, because our percentage of people, that chronic percentage is now growing. And it may be short-term hardship. Like during the pandemic, people would get their hours cut, and then, their hours would come back up, or they were able to
Mhm.
pick up another job, or their mom got sick, their grandmother got sick, and they had to leave work to go take care of that person. We were just seeing all of these things happening. And so our organization, as well as many others, started saying, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to fundraise to raise money so that we can offer assistance to people, so that when they hit a bump, we can be there to help them overcome that, so they don't have to give up their pet. And we don't have to take another animal in,
Right.
right? Because the truth is, taking another animal in costs the organization money,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
And it could cost an organization more money to take the animal in versus just help pay for the life-saving surgery or whatever it is that the pet needed.
Yep.
Um, and so it's a way to help pets and people stay together, but also to keep animals out of shelters.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how nice your shelter is. It doesn't not matter how much love there is from the human caretakers. It is a stressful, scary environment for an animal.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I know that we jumped head into some of the stressors and the work that you're
Hmm.
doing, but if we can rewind a little bit and
Yep.
hear a little bit more specifically about what your Humane Society is doing, the West Columbia Gorge Humane Society, what makes you a small and mighty team? What are you guys up to?
Hmm.
Obviously, you're touching on, obviously even some of the shifts that you guys have had to make over the years, but yeah, let
Hmm.
us know a little bit more about your organization.
So we are a staff of 12. We have two small buildings on a campus. We call it our campus in Washougal. We have a cat shelter and a dog shelter. They're right next to each other. We have more like 250 volunteers.
Okay.
The staff is outnumbered by volunteers, which is a good thing.
Yes.
The volunteers provide lots of hours of work and assistance that we could never afford on our own. And so our small but mighty team is, I refer to the staff as our small but mighty team, but then we are an army with all of our volunteers and our community, really. Here in Washougal in our sister city, Camas, it's interesting because over the years, you have animal control picking up stray dogs, and they don't really help with cats here, but in other cities they do. And with the help of social media and, each community, uh, at least in our community, having a love for animals, people now are helping um, humane societies reconnect lost pets with their owners just through social
Mm-hmm.
media,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's really nice when you live in a place where people really care about your animals. It's socially conscious animal sheltering is what it is. Um, so we take in cats and dogs that are in tough situations. So that's our part of our mission where we save lives. And then the second part of our mission is to provide resources to keep pets and their people together, which I was just talking about a little bit. We have a food pantry that is open to anyone that needs a little help to feed their pet. You come to the shelter and we don't ask a lot of questions. We just say, what can we help you with today? We also will hand out pet supplies. And then we have a veterinary assistance fund for people who have owned pets
Mm-hmm.
and they've run into a situation where, um, an unexpected health situation came up, right? Where they don't have $1,000 or $3,000 laying around to help their animal. Um, so we fundraise for that. We have donors that specifically, um, give us money for those types of scenarios. Which is really nice because, like I was saying earlier, it's a way for us to keep animals out of the shelter and keep pets and their people together because the human animal bond is an extraordinary thing. It's
Yeah.
extraordinarily good for both, right?
Yeah.
Um, we work with animal control here in Camas and Washougal. They bring us stray dogs. We have more cats than dogs just because our cat shelter is can house more cats than
Mm-hmm.
dogs. On average, we do around 700 animals a year that we adopt out. But through our community support programs and our field services, we touch thousands of pets and people. Um, in fact, we just pulled together some data, and I wish I had it handy here. I can give it to you after this, and maybe you can
Okay.
somehow add it in.
Yeah.
The number of calls that we take every week, the number of emails that we handle. We have, people coming in and out all day long. On average, we take in about 36 animals a week, which for a small organization like ours is a lot.
Yeah.
Um, I kid you not, our cat shelter is really only about 1,800 square feet, and our dog shelter is about 1,100 square feet. There's 11 kennels in the dog shelter, and we can house comfortably 35 cats inside the cat shelter.
Okay.
excuse me, we have about 40 foster homes. And then we have cats in 4 Petco stores throughout the area. So we
Mhm.
have animals all over the place. We do our own surgeries in a location here in the area, just not on our campus.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're juggling a lot of balls,
Yes.
and for a small group, right?
Yes.
But it's because we are very motivated and driven to help these animals, and our supporters are basically the fuel that keep us going, because we have days where we're like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. Like, to see another cat come in half dead,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
another person, call and say, in tears, right? I mean, we're like emotional counselors sometimes too,
Yeah.
call and say, my dog is sick. I need help. Recently, this happened, and we were able to fundraise, I think it was $2,400 to help this woman keep her dog because the dog had a blockage. And these things happen.
Yeah.
Animals like to get into things,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So, yeah, we're busy, very busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that is a lot for, sorry if you can hear that, sirens are going off now,
That's
but
okay.
it is a lot for a small staff to take on, and thank goodness for
Yeah,
volunteers that you have. And
yeah.
I saw recently that you guys did a really great fundraising event where you were able to paint some, I think they were like personalized portraits
The
of,
mural,
yes,
the
the
mural
mural.
on the Connex. Yes. So our campus is very small. It's in the Washougal Industrial Complex. And because our buildings are so small, we don't have any storage space. So we have 2 storage containers, Connexes. And thank God. And then we have a couple of sheds. It's a bit of a hodgepodge, but
Sure. Make it
it's
work.
you make it work. You get real creative when you don't have a lot of money, right? So the Washougal uh Alliance of what is it? It's Washougal Alliance of Cultural Arts, I think it's what it's called. Um, they approached us and said, "Hey, we'd love to give you a grant to have a local artist beautify your Connex, right?
Yeah.
Because they have art installations all throughout Washougal, and it's really neat. And I was like, that sounds amazing. So we went to some donors and, at one of our events and said, anybody who's interested, here's what the donation will be. And then your animal will be memorialized on this Connex. So there's 7 animals and it came out beautifully.
I saw
And I
it. Great.
love it because, you're driving through the Washougal Industrial Park and you have no idea there's a Humane Society, right? Like we're so small, you'd miss us if you blink. Um, but you'll see this mural, right? And then I'm like, okay, this will pique somebody's interest. They'll see this, they'll see these beautiful cats and dogs painted on this Connex, and they'll go, oh, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So any way for us to catch people's attention, I'm all about it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great.
And
Well,
it's a good representation of the animals that we care for. We have all breeds, all shapes, all sizes, all sexes, all everything, like
yeah.
we got old dogs, young dogs, baby neonate kittens.
Mm,
We've had cats in the shelter that were in their late teens. We try to help them all.
yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you do as much as you can
Yep.
with the resources that you have.
Yep.
Well, shifting to you a little bit, I'm curious, what has been your history with animals? Have you always been someone who's passionate about animals?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. If you had told me 20 or 30 years ago that I'd be doing this, I would say, no, no, no. No, you don't know me. Um, I've had animals ever since I was a young child, and I just connected with them. I always tell people I identify dog. So, and people will see me, like I'll see a dog and I'm like, oh my God, I have to go talk to that dog, and I will get down on the floor with that dog and we will have a conversation.
Yeah.
Since working at the shelter, I've come to love cats now too. So I share my home with cats and dogs. But yeah, I went to school, went to college, got into corporate America, just, wrote checks to humane societies and other local organizations throughout my life. And then I got married and had my first child. And my husband and I made the decision that I would stay home.
Mm.
He wanted to stay home, but I was like, you're making more money than me, so I get to stay home. There, that's it. So, yeah, and that's when I met my best friend because we moved into Washougal and I didn't know anybody. And so, and then I had my second child and just living my life as a stay-at-home mom, living in a rural area where there weren't tons of people. And this one girlfriend of mine, we were each other's lifeline. We'd do things with our kids. We'd have girls' nights, all the things. And then she succumbed to cancer and passed. And that was an awful, awful experience to go through. She left behind a husband and two small boys.
Mm.
And I did not know what to do with myself. I had lost grandparents, but I had never lost somebody my age that I was that close to. And I decided that I was going to adopt a dog and name it after her. And so this dog I fell in love with was a mama dog, and she had just had a couple of puppies. And she was at West Columbia Gorge Humane Society. And because I didn't even know about this place. I mean, I
Okay.
had heard there was something. I wasn't, because I had just moved to Washougal. And so I went down there, and long story short, I didn't end up getting the dog. The dog was meant to go to be a therapy dog to a young boy,
Mm.
which that was fabulous.
Yeah.
But I ended up volunteering. And because I was like, oh, they've got dogs here and they could use some help,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so I started dog walking and cleaning kennels, and I just got more and more involved. And then before I knew it, 2 years later, I was on the board. And then 3 years after that, I was the board president, and it just kept going. And then yeah, in 2020, I stepped off the board temporarily to
Okay.
step into the interim ED role because our ED had moved on to another organization. I said, I just need 3 months. I'll stabilize us. I'll hire somebody. 3 months and I'll be back on the board. What year is this? Okay, 5 years later, I'm the ED.
Yep. Yep.
I did not mean for this to happen. It happened accidentally. But I fell in love with it, and the board at the time, I guess they thought I was doing a good job. So
Totally.
here I am.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's been the craziest job I've ever had in my entire life.
Mm. Yeah.
You're like on this roller coaster, right? Because you get a big donation or a bequest, and you're like, we can pay payroll for the next 3 months. And then you're paying all your bills, and it's like, oh, the bank account's coming low again, and then, or you're riding this wave with this animal that comes in, and you've helped it get back on its feet, and now you found the perfect home. But when it first came in, you didn't know what its future was going to be. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's a highly emotional experience,
Yes.
but you still have to find a way to run the business,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's payroll, there's facilities that have to be updated. There's bills to pay. There's all the things.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting and dynamic role.
Yeah. I would imagine that it's a role that not just anyone can probably slip into, that you have to have
The
some level.
whole, okay, so did you and I can't remember the original approach, but it had something about how to do with resilience, didn't it?
Correct. Yep. That's what we're doing. Yep.
Um, a person that works in the animal welfare industry has to be highly emotionally resilient.
Yeah.
Physically resilient if you're handling animals. I can't handle anymore. I mean, I'm 53 now, and my back is shot
Mm.
from walking big, strong dogs that wanted to walk me. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Cleaning kennels, all the things. So yeah, you have to be flexible. Here I am in my car in the
Yeah,
rain,
yeah,
by the light, by the McDonald's light post. You have to be flexible. You have to be able to move quickly.
yeah,
Things happen, and that's why I'm in my car right now because
yeah,
my afternoon went sideways.
yeah.
You have to be positive. You have to stay positive. I would think that law enforcement, social workers, anybody that's working with vulnerable um, groups,
Yeah,
um, it's very taxing. It can be very taxing.
yeah,
And so you have to be able to weather that.
yeah,
Lots of self-care. I mean, you never have time for it, but even if you can only grab, an hour of peace and quiet for yourself,
yeah,
you have to do it.
yeah.
Um, it's not easy. And I think that people in the animal welfare industry, the nonprofit world in general, is
Yeah,
highly underpaid and
yeah,
undervalued.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. I think that you named off some really important qualities of what it takes to be resilient.
Mhm.
If you, I mean, I guess, do you believe that that is a quality that is developed or that something that is just innate in someone?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of nature and nurture.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I, I'm just gonna say, as a woman, um, I feared childbirth. Then I found myself in that situation. I was like, only one way to do this. I gotta go through it.
Right, exactly.
I had no idea how high my pain tolerance was or how strong I was
Yeah,
until that experience. Now, men can't go through childbirth, but there's other things that men experience that they will tell you, is transformational for them.
yeah,
Um, I think that there are, and so as I was saying, I was a woman that didn't know that I could do that, but I did it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And many of us women do it, right? And
yeah,
many of us are like, I'm never having kids. That's no way. That's gonna hurt. I'm not doing. And here we are with kids, right? So when it's short of having kids, things that would not be like that. I think people in animal welfare, because of their hardcore love for animals, it's like childbirth. You just do
hmm
it.
hmm
You just do it. And I tell people all the time, this work is taking years off my life. I'm sure of it. I mean, I'm like gray streaks here, white streaks, like I wrinkles, but I don't know how to not do it.
yeah,
You get sucked into it. And even when you're like, oh my God, I don't know how I can do this. You look at these animals or you get another call for help.
yeah.
I can't turn that away.
Mm-hmm.
People say to me, I don't know how you do this. I couldn't do it. And I just say, I don't know how I couldn't do it at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know, so I, I I don't know that anybody like grows up and says, I'm gonna go rescue animals. Like you just kind of do it as a hobby or a love or oh, I love animals. I guess I'll go work at a shelter or in a vet
yeah,
clinic or whatever. Um, but it really is it really changes you,
yeah.
you know. And you become very enmeshed with it. Like when I worked in corporate America, it was like, okay, that's work. My personal's over here. This is very much this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you get the calls late at night. You get the calls on the weekends, Every time I'm out and about, I see a stray dog or a cat or an animal hurting, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to go help that animal, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
So, and I tell people, I'm like, well, I don't know how you do what you do. I don't know how you're a nurse in an ER. I
Right.
could never do that,
Right.
you know, or a child psychologist,
Mm-hmm.
I know somebody that has worked for nonprofits that rescue sex traffic victims.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I think we are all born with certain gifts and talents and a level of resilience
Yeah.
um, that is developed and honed as we get older based on the experiences that we have.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I was meant to have my chapter 2 part of my life,
Yeah.
post children career, be in animal welfare, but I never would have chose it.
Hmm.
I just loved animals, and I would donate, but never in a million years thought that I could work in a shelter.
Right. Right.
But our shelter showed me um, that um, at the time that things could be done differently.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what drew me in.
Yeah. Yeah. That their message spoke to you and it felt like,
Well, and their philosophy and their
yeah.
way of doing things. And even though they were under resourced in terms of people and money and all the things, I liked their mission. That resonated with me,
Hmm.
and knowing that I could go there and know exactly what was going on with these animals, and if one wasn't in its kennel, where it was, um, that that helped me a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, because they're like my babies, and I needed to know where the babies were, what was happening. Now, listen, not all animals come out of a shelter, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes animals come in that cannot be helped,
Yeah.
and that is a sad truth that we deal with. Um, it's either they are very, very physically ill, and we cannot give them quality of life. So the best thing to do is end their suffering, or they are mentally ill.
Hmm.
And if you have a mentally ill dog that cannot be rehabilitated or cannot be desensitized or be helped, and that dog would pose a risk in the community,
Yeah.
you have to make a really tough decision.
Yes.
A really tough decision. Um, so what I love about West Columbia Gorge Humane Society is that we treat, like you said, we treat every animal as an individual.
Hmm.
And we can do that because we're small, right? We're not a big high volume shelter. Every shelter, every Humane Society rescue organization carries out their mission within their capacity,
Yep.
right? We're not a big shelter. We never want to be a big shelter. There's plenty of big shelters around here that do that job,
Yeah.
right? We have carved our own little path for ourselves. And we tend to be more community based. We can help, you know, throughout Southwest Washington, but we tend to do a lot of the work in Camas and Washougal.
Yeah.
And we do it in such a way that is very animal centered. Um, we work very well with shy and shut down animals. Um, and I wouldn't say extremes. I mean, extremes to a degree, but we're not going to keep an animal alive if it's suffering.
Sure. Absolutely.
That's not fair,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there have been times that animals have been brought into us and the animal is half dead. I mean, it's horrible. It's
Mhm.
it's it's awful. And like we have to shut down, like lock the doors, don't let anybody in. We have to triage this animal, right? With the little bit of knowledge that we have, because we
Yeah.
don't have a vet on staff. Um, and there was one dog, I think we named her Miracle at the end of the day, and she was old. She can't, we find we a lot of old half dead animals find their way to us. um and she showed us that she was not done living. She needed some antibiotics, and she needed some hydration, and she needed some care. She was old, she was fragile, but man, she just with some antibiotics and some good food, she was like, hello, I am here. And she went on to live another year.
Mm,
And we put her in a foster home, not knowing how much longer she had left. We call it a fospice. So it's a foster hospice home. And our hospice folks know, like, you may be their last destination.
yeah.
And these people fell in love with her and they adopted her.
Mm,
And it was amazing. And we had a parade here in town, and they brought her in a little wagon, and she's just sitting there looking around. And if we hadn't listened to her and, you know, kind of put her first and figured out, okay, what's going on, and given her some time,
yeah.
she wouldn't have had that time.
Mm, yeah.
So I like that. That I can work in that under that umbrella. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know.
Well, I mean, that's obviously there's probably a ton of impactful stories that I'm
Mhm.
sure live in your heart and your mind constantly about what you see and what you guys are able to accomplish there. And so, and
Mhm.
it sounds like that one in particular stands out, but
Yes, because she came in really bad shape,
yeah,
and we pretty much we literally like scheduled the day that we were going to let her go.
yeah,
And the doctor said, or the foster said, she's kind of perked up in the last 24, 48 hours. And the vet's like, okay, let me check her out. Let's do another quality of life, evaluation. And the vet said, you know what? She's better. She said, so let's just let her go home with the foster. Let's keep doing what we're doing. And I mean, it was just like boom. In a minute, we went from we have to let her go and that sadness and heartache to no, she's telling us that she wants to keep going,
yeah.
you know. I mean, we've had kittens come in broken, literally broken bones. I mean, lifeless.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we've had animals come in that they needed some sort of, like, recently this year, this kitten needed a very rare, she had a very rare condition called pectus excavatum. Her sternum was not fully closed,
Oh,
so her chest was sunken in. And we were like, whoa, what is this? We've never seen this before. And so, we worked with the right doctors to diagnose her and everything. And they said, well, there is a chance that she could survive this, but you have to find a vet that's done this surgery. Well, there's not a lot of vets around here that have done this surgery, but we did find one. And she survived,
mm,
and she is adorable. And she is sassy, sassy, sassy. So, that feels good.
yeah, yeah. I
That feels
can't
good.
imagine how rewarding that is. And
Yep. And then we get the dogs that come in that are shut down because they've lived on a chain, or they've just lived in a kennel or a miserable life. And they come in and they're scared and they're showing us their teeth and trying to tell us to stay away. And we're like, okay, you decompress. See, we'll give you some time. We just keep throwing the treats in and,
yeah,
feeding them and loving them. And then they just come out of their shell and they're just beautiful souls.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, I have spent many a time sitting outside of a kennel uh, of a dog that is terrified and telling me stay away. So I don't go in the kennel. I just sit outside, and you don't look at the animal. So the animal might be looking at you, but you're looking this way, and you're just this quiet presence, right?
yeah,
And it's just amazing how they slowly come around. And it's just, I mean, you end up in tears because it's
right.
such a beautiful thing. Um, so yeah, those rewards are pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it speaks to a lot about just what it takes to heal from trauma, whether you're an animal or a human, right? Just
Oh yeah.
having someone listen,
Yeah.
right? I hear you're listening to their cues, right? And
Mhm.
trying to just attune to them to know what they need and giving them
Mhm.
time and space
Yeah.
to come into their own.
Well, and it's cool because we listen to the people too. Matchmaking is a very integral part of what we do, right? Because you don't want the animal to have to come back if it's not I mean, it happens, right? But you're really going for, like, okay, I've got this animal with these needs.
Yeah.
I need to pair this animal with this type of person, right? So people will come in and they'll be like, oh, that dog's so cute. That kitten's so cute. I want it. And we're like, okay, well, tell us a little bit about you. You know, let us tell you a little bit about this animal. This animal has some special needs, right? Um, but one of the things I love the most is when we get the call from somebody that says, I'm looking for an emotional support dog. Um, or I am a vet. I have PTSD. I need a companion. Or we have a little elderly woman, her husband just died, she's lonely. And then, you take this animal that has these special needs and pair them up with this person with special needs, and the bond is indescribable.
Mm,
And to see how they fill each other up with love, this unconditional love and acceptance and affection and all the things. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing.
yeah.
So those are the highs.
Yes.
The lows are when the half dead kitten shows up and somebody says, the cat just got hit by a car, or what, something awful like that. Or we get a call that somebody knows of somebody that's got too many animals and they're living in filth, and those are the hard days. But then the good days are going to come.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think the hardest is when we have to euthanize an animal for mental health.
Mhm.
But the way we look at it is, okay, you're suffering mentally, and we want to help you not have to live like that anymore. Because some dogs are so traumatized and far gone that
Yeah.
it's like people, you know,
Yeah.
you can't get them back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As much as
So
you want to.
yeah, and with people, you can medicate them, you can do things,
Mhm.
but with a dog, especially a big dog, they might bite you. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Exactly.
So
It becomes
you can't
dangerous.
have that. You can't
Yeah.
have that. So it's different, right?
Yeah.
But suffering is suffering, whether it's physical or mental, emotional, it's suffering. And it's just not fair to an animal to have to live that existence if they have such awful separation anxiety or such awful fear that they're not going to submit, they're going to be aggressive,
Yeah. Or
and
they
you
end up hurting themselves because of their behaviors. Yeah. Yeah.
or somebody else is going to hurt them,
Yeah.
and you don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you definitely outlined certainly that roller coaster that you were speaking to earlier, the highs and the lows, and
yeah.
just taking it back to that resilience piece of, I'm sure in a million years you probably would never have been able to imagine what you've been able to endure and come out the other side. And I'm sure that, like you said, there's self-care involved.
Mhm.
Even if it's just taking a breather here and there, but yeah.
Sometimes self-care is me just grabbing an animal.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes I work in or I'll go into where we do our surgeries, and I'll be the recovery person, and I'll just sit in that kennel holding the dog, or I'll put the cat inside my sweater. Um, that brings me back to what started all of this,
Mm,
right? So when I have my day go sideways because of a business, um, something on the business side goes sideways, or an animal goes, and I'm sitting in my car like this, it's helpful for me when I can get back to where all this started,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it relieves some tension.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A reminder of why you do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, exactly. The why.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know at the beginning you had mentioned, having the thought of like, uh, how long can I do this, or can we keep doing this sort of thing when you get to those low parts? And I'm
Mhm.
wondering, um, how do you recover from those moments? Is it just reconnecting back to the why? Is it just the self-care, or are there other things that kind of help you sustain yourself in the work that you're doing?
So, with anything in life, whether it's professional or personal, things happen and you're like, whoa. Whoa, let me stabilize myself. Um, you have your initial reaction, and it's like fear or frustration, or you're just completely dismayed, or you're just heartbroken, whatever. And then you just kind of have to reset yourself, ground yourself,
Mhm.
and think about what's my next step. Because if you look at the big picture, it becomes overwhelming,
Mm,
and I can't fix everything. You know,
right.
I'm an executive director, and I often feel like I'm responsible for everything, but at the end of the day, I really have no control over anything, right? I serve so many people and animals, it's not even funny. And I tell people that all the time, and they're like, well, you just have to answer the board. I'm like, no, no. I answer to the donors. I answer to the supporters. I answer to the animals. I answer to the staff. I answer to the other business leaders. I answer to the media.
Yeah.
It's a lot,
Yeah.
you know. So I just yeah, when you know the something comes out of left field, it's like, whoa, you know, and then I just have to steady myself and go, okay,
Yeah.
what are we doing next? Like, and I say that to the team all the time. I'm like, we can figure everything out. It may not be our ideal outcome,
Yeah.
but what's the next best outcome? Oh, we can't have that one. Okay, what's the next best outcome? You just keep trying to avoid the worst outcome. And with a good team of people, you can do it.
Yeah.
It is hard to accept at times that you can't have that ideal, especially in nonprofit, because
Mhm.
you don't have the resources for it.
Right.
Sometimes, you know what ones really drive me crazy? This is why I'm in my car right now. I just had something come at me.
Yeah.
Um, it's not money. Money can't fix this. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
you know, those are the tough ones
Yeah.
when the fix you have no control over. It's
Mm,
something that has to work itself out,
okay.
and you have to look at different options. It's not just you know, I can't just call a donor about this and say, hey, would you help pay for this? Because
Mhm.
it's not that kind of problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, those are tough.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and speaking to the people that you have to answer to, I think actually one of the reasons why I reached out initially was I had saw a news article printed up about the Humane Society about
Mhm.
someone being frustrated that
Oh yeah.
yeah, that you weren't like someone wasn't available, and I was like,
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of people things that people don't understand.
Things that are beyond our control.
Yes.
Remember when the conversation first started, I said sometimes we have to lock our doors
Yeah.
because there's things going on inside that we have to have all hands on deck, 100% focus.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, I think people unintentionally think that government agencies and nonprofits, we can just fix everything and we're available 24/7. Like we're sitting here going, we're not busy, just bring us everything. Nope, we can't fix everything. We can't always respond to something. Um, it's really hard when people accuse us of things that we had no control over. And even if we had control, if the door had been unlocked and the cat could have made its way to us,
Mhm.
we have 12 intake kennels in our cat shelter,
Right.
just 12.
Yeah.
95% of the time they're full.
Yeah.
And so if you bring us a stray cat, now on the dog side, we have to take a stray dog. We have to, right? We
Oh,
can't
okay.
say no. We're in
Mhm.
contract with the cities. So
Oh,
we
okay.
we have to get real creative sometimes, but on the cat side, it's not that way. And so there are times when, uh, well, we ask the public to please call us and ask us for a time that they can bring the stray cat in so that we can make sure we have a kennel available,
Yeah.
and the resources we need to be able to take that cat in.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, it's not as easy for me to just make space, right? Because the intake process is a certain way on the cat side. They have to be segregated from our how do I say this? They have to be in an assessment period of 10 to 14 days.
Like a quarantine.
Yeah, but not as strict as that. They're just in
Okay.
their own separate room because cats like to get sick when they're stressed.
Okay.
So if they're carrying anything, you pick up a cat off the street, we don't know if it's vaccinated. We don't know what it's carrying, right? Yeah. Dogs, same thing. I mean, they could be carrying stuff too. But it's different with cats. Yeah. So we like to be able to say yes to people. So we say, please call ahead of time and set a time with us to intake that cat, that stray cat, right? Because we have questions to ask you. Where did you find the cat? What can, what condition? Do you know if this cat has an owner? Is this your neighbor's cat? You know what I mean? Like, all those things. And so even if our doors are open and you come in, there's no guarantee that we can take that cat. Yeah. Now on the dog side, we do have the ability to pop up a kennel or, send one of our dogs to another location so that we can take in that stray dog. It's not that way with the cats.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so people get emotional and they get upset that we just can't, we don't have space for all the animals. It's like foster children in the United States or homeless people. Yeah. People are like, well, just do this, or, well, that's not the right way to do it. Well, and they blame it on politics and they blame it on the lack of compassion of Americans or whatever they do. At the end of the day, there is no place that you can put all of the homeless people or all of the criminals. Or, I mean, we're running out of space with the criminals, right? Like, it's the same with the animals, people. Yeah. We have limited capacity and we work so hard to move the animals through quickly to get them adopted. But you know what? Animals will tell you, I'm sick. I can't be adopted today. Nor do you want to adopt a sick cat that may be carrying something that can get your other animals sick? No. Right? And so I just don't think people understand the whole process behind taking animals in. Yeah. Yeah. You and I could do a whole series of podcasts on what it takes to run an animal shelter.
Well, we might have to do a follow-up for sure.
It's crazy. We have to have insurance. We have to have, internet. We have to have all the things that every business has to have. Yeah. Sometimes we have to contact an attorney. Sometimes we have to do this. It's so much bigger than just taking that cat off the street or taking that dog from somebody that doesn't want it anymore. We have to have the space. Yeah. Yeah. You can't just throw them all into a building and let them run wild. Yeah. Even the big shelters, they have a certain number of kennels and that's it, people. Okay. Like people get upset when the bigger shelters turn them away because they bring in a stray cat. Just because they have a bigger building and just because they have more kennels doesn't mean that they don't ever run out of space. They do. Yeah. And then people beat up on the workers in the shelters, the poor shelter workers. Oh my God. They really take a beating because they're on that front line, the calls, the emails, the people walking in. And gosh, we just love it when people come in and they're friendly and nice and understand.
Yes. Yeah. So it sounds like asking for a lot of patience and compassion.
Yeah, just understand that we want to take that animal from you. We want to help you. Oh my God, we want to help you. You know what else is really frustrating? I don't know how much time we have left, but when people think that as a humane society, we can just help everybody with their pet and do anything to their pet. We can't. The state of Washington does not allow humane societies to do anything to owned pets unless they fall under a low income status and they can qualify for it. And then even with that, the Humane Society or the rescue organization has to be licensed through the state to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
We can't touch owned animals. There's like a 30-day window if we adopt out an animal and within 30 days that animal gets sick, that we can help that animal. But we're not allowed to touch owned animals.
Yeah.
Unless there's licensing in place and people are qualifying for state assistance, all the things.
Yeah.
And it kills me because we have the resources to help owned pets and help, those people that can't afford to go to private practice or they can't get into private practice because they're all booked up. But our hands are tied.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Actually, no one has said that yet from people I've talked with in Washington in particular. So I'm glad that you're bringing that up because I think that is.
We deal with it every day.
Yeah.
Every day. So remember I was saying during the pandemic, we started seeing like middle class families started struggling, but they fell into that gap. They weren't low income, but they didn't have extra money to pay $1,000, $2,000, $8,000. A few years ago, we had a woman call us. It was like 2 or 3 days before Christmas. Single mom, kids, cat got hurt. She rushed it to the clinic and the clinic said it's going to be, I don't know what it was, $5,000, $8,000 to fix the cat. And she's like, she had just enough money to have them diagnose. And so they said, okay, well, here are your options. You can call this place, this place, this place, or you can euthanize the animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 2 days before Christmas. And these kids, they're babies, they're little kids, And so anyways, thank God we were able to help her. We took the cat in. She surrendered ownership. We took the cat in because she's like, I don't even know if I'll be able to own this cat after, because she didn't know like what's the recovery going to look like. Can I afford what the cat's going to need? You know what I mean? Because you don't know.
True. Yeah.
And we worked with her. She saw it through. She was committed. We saw it through. And we happily adopted that cat back to her because she was the right family for that cat. And she knew that she had the capacity to take on that cat because the cat healed well and there were no extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes animals get sick and after you get them well, you find out, okay, now you have to buy them a special diet that's super expensive, or now they have to take pills every day, or they're diabetic and you're going to have to do this, that, and the other. And people can't afford that. And we don't pay for chronic. Our aid is more acute, not chronic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people falling in that category now where they are not low income, according to the state's income levels, but they can't afford a $3,000 procedure for their animal.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I remember my husband and I sat down with a financial advisor a few years back and, he was just saying, that the reality is that the majority of people don't have savings, right? So most people don't have that chunk of money sitting around.
No, and people will highly leverage themselves trying to pay for their animals because their animals are the one thing on this planet that give them love and affection, unconditional love and all the things.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's rough.
Yeah.
I read a statistic recently. I can't remember what I was reading. I think it was like Shelter Animals Count. It's a company that they collect data and then they create reports for animal welfare organizations. And don't quote me on this. I can get this to you later, the exact percentage. 67% of people are hesitant to get a pet because of the cost of veterinary services and the cost to care for that animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the accessibility of veterinary care.
Oh,
There's a shortage of veterinarians and professional staff. And so even if you have the money to get your animal in, you might have to wait a while. You know, it's really a very interesting, we're in very interesting circumstances right now.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The card seems stacked against getting animals out of the system in many ways. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's tricky.
Yeah. Well, obviously you have a lot of passion and energy around the work that you're doing, and you are able to touch and impact a lot of the lives, specifically in your community, which is amazing. I think that, it's great to have a wide reach, but also I think, on the micro sense, our local communities, wherever we reside, they really need attention. And so I think you're probably making a giant impact there.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just feel like, so if you're here, right, you want to help the need this way, not be all over the place,
Yeah.
And sometimes we do. I mean, there's times that, we'll help an animal that's, 3 hours away or whatever, because a donor or supporter may step in and say, hey, can you help out with this, whatever. So we're flexible and it's case by case.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're trying to stay within our own local community.
Yeah, exactly.
But see, that's the other thing is animals don't know boundaries.
Yeah.
They don't know city limits. They don't know city lines. Like for example, if there's a dog in Washougal, outside of city limits, Washougal, rural Washougal, I can't take that dog in. That dog is considered a Clark County dog.
Okay.
And has to go to Humane Society for Southwest Washington because Humane Society for Southwest Washington has a contract with Clark County Animal Control. So I can't take that animal, even though it's in Washougal.
Wow. Interesting.
And see, animals don't know these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They don't know financials. They don't know income levels. They don't know any of that. They just know, are you going to love me and feed me? Or are you going to be mean to me and neglect me?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hard to say no when there's an animal in need. But, a lot of times we'll work with other rescues and say, hey, we got a call. It's your jurisdiction. Can you step in? We'll pass it over to you. It's
yeah.
There's some guidelines we have to follow.
Totally. Well, speaking of boundaries, in I guess a different sense, I heard you say that calls come in at all hours. Obviously, there is a constant need fielding. I think you said 36 phone calls a day.
Oh no, I said we take in about 36 animals a week.
36. Okay. Well,
yeah.
So
I'm going to get back to you with the data on how many calls per week, how many emails, because it's crazy. Because people get mad at us. They'll be like, you didn't call me back right away. You didn't email me back. And I'm like, oh my God, please have grace with us, please. Exactly. Because if our volunteers don't show up, then our shelter staff has to take care of the animals before they can return calls or return emails.
Exactly.
And I think people don't understand that. I don't have a separate, admin staff that I don't have a receptionist, you know what I mean? Our shelter coordinators, there's 3 of them. They're doing it all from soup to nuts.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So what does it take, I guess to, keep your own boundaries? Because you said it gets enmeshed sometimes, right? Like in the corporate world, you could say that's work. This is home. Like, how do you take care of the boundaries for yourself?
So our team is very supportive of one another. And so at the director level, so there's me and then there's my 2 directors. So director of operations, development director. And if I'm at my wit's end and I need a break because I'm momming and I'm working and I'm wifing and I'm, all the things, going through menopause, all the things, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
life is happening, but animals still need to be saved, right? I can go to my directors and say, I am going off grid for a few days. If you need anything, you have the board of directors.
Yeah.
Our two co-presidents are there for you.
Yeah.
I need to go away for a little while.
Okay.
And our team is, like I said, very supportive. So we make sure our staff gets plenty of needed time off. We're pretty flexible with that. Paid time off. We don't have a lot of money, but we can band together and cover for each other so that people can have time off when they need it. Because sometimes they need mental health days.
Absolutely.
Compassion fatigue is real. It's not just in animal welfare, it's in human welfare, human services, it's in all of your law enforcement, it's in your social workers, it's in your health, human health. People need the opportunity to disconnect and disengage because it's nonstop.
Yeah.
When you're looking after lives, whether it's animals or people, they don't know a time clock. Kittens like to try and die in the middle of the night. And so fosters need to call us and say, my kitten is lethargic and not eating. What do I do? You know what I mean? So we are very sensitive to that as an organization, to our employees. The board is very sensitive to that with me. They know that I still have kids at home. And so I have to do mom things.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I love about West Columbia Gorge Humane Society. That compassion and consideration for one another is really important.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we can't do it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to put on the plane, they say, put your oxygen mask on first so you can help others. If I'm struggling, I have to go away for a few days or a few hours, whatever it is I need, and put my oxygen mask on. It's funny. I used to say to the coworkers, get the quarantine kennel ready for me because I'm coming in and I need you to lock me in there. Don't let me out for 10 days. Put me in the ISO room, bring me food, leave me alone.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
Very
you're right.
real.
You're right. I mean, everyone needs an opportunity to disconnect, focus on themselves and what's in their immediate needs. And so I'm glad. I'm so glad to hear that, because sometimes I do talk to people who either don't give themselves permission to do that.
It's hard.
Yes.
It's hard, Jolene, because there's even times when like we'll have to slow our intakes down.
Yeah.
Right? Because we can't keep up. And if we've got okay, here's a perfect example for you. We just had a ringworm outbreak in our cat shelter. Okay. You don't mess with ringworm. And we don't euthanize for ringworm. We treat it. But here's the thing. It shows up in one or two cats. Like right now it's cats, it's not dogs. We haven't had this happen in 8 years, so we got a pretty good track record now. 7 years, 7 or 8 years. You got to shut everything down. You got to contain it. You got to figure out, okay, who's showing it right now and who's going to break with it, right? Because you don't always, it can break at any time. And you have to do extensive deep cleaning. So in the last month, we've really had to slow things down and restabilize. We were able to keep cats at Petco. And we were able to put cats in foster homes. We just couldn't bring cats into our cat shelter. And if we adopted any cats out that were not showing ringworm, there was a medical waiver saying, we're letting you know that we have some cats with ringworm in the shelter. And while this cat's not showing it right now, you are
Right.
taking the risk of adopting it, right? So yeah, there's times when we have to stop intakes. And again, there's the time and the money, but we've got cats that are sick and you can't expose other animals or people.
Right.
Ringworm gets onto people too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to send a cat home with ringworm and then some little kid gets, I mean, there's a high level of responsibility that goes along with this work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, and I don't think people understand the risks
Yeah.
and the level of responsibility.
Mhm.
It's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate all the efforts that you and your team go to take care of these animals, rehabilitate them, get them into the right homes. I mean, I know it's a giant task that continues to
Yes.
keep coming. So I appreciate that. And so if people wanted to support the work that you and your team are doing at West Columbia Gorge Humane Society, how can they support you? What's the best way to do that?
I love this. I always say there's 4 ways: adopt, donate, volunteer, advocate. If you have money but no time, you can donate. If you have time but no money, you can volunteer. Um, and if you want an animal, please consider adopting from us. We would love to help you find an animal. You can contact us and say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of animal, and we'll help you find it. Because we have access to lots of animals, not just what's in our shelter, but we know animals that are in need,
Yeah.
right? And maybe in a foster based network or sitting at another shelter that, you know, we work with. And then I say to people, if you don't have time, you don't have money, and you don't want to adopt, use your mouth and advocate for us and for animals, right? Doesn't cost you anything. If somebody you know says, hey, I want to adopt an animal, check out West Columbia Gorge Humane Society. Or if you know somebody that has had a windfall or is feeling generous and they want to be charitable, check out West Columbia Gorge Humane Society.
Yes.
See, in that way, nobody can say, I can't help.
That's right. That's right.
I gave you 4 different ways that you can help us, because advocating is word of mouth.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
it's hugely impactful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So WCGHS.org to adopt, volunteer, donate, and then advocating you just do with your mouth
Yeah.
or social media.
Or social media. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I think that's succinct and accessible to anyone at all levels. So I think that's a really good synopsis of how to help and support. So,
Good.
yes. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for being flexible. And thank you for sitting in your car in
Thanks.
the dark
I
outside of
can't,
Walgreens.
my light won't even come on. I've been sitting here for so long that I can't even get the light to come on. Hi, everybody. I feel like I'm a ghost in the background.
You're just some ominous person.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you want to talk again, I promise you I will do my best to be in a building with proper lighting.
Well, I might actually take you up on following up on kind of what it takes kind of conversation. I think those are impactful to have too, just to give more perspective to people. So, but yeah.
Yes, I'm always happy to, talk about the work we do, because I want to inform people, and I want to help as many animals as I can, I hate saying owned, it sounds awful, but if pets have parents and the parents need some help, I would love to help them. And if pets need help because there's nobody looking after them, I would love to help them. We would love to help them.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Well, thank you for the big heart and the compassion for
mhm,
all parts of the equation. So thank you
mhm.
so much, Micki.
Yes, my pleasure.
Thank you. you again to Micki Simone for sharing her story and her experience with West Columbia Gorge Humane Society. If you were moved by this episode, like, share, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at Animal Rescue Hub. And until next time, may we all find our own tale of resilience. Thanks for joining us on Tales of Resilience. If today's story moved you, reminded you of your own path, or gave you something to think about, please consider sharing this episode with someone else who cares. You can follow us on Instagram at zodi.paws and animal.rescuehub to stay connected, or visit zodipaws.com or animalrescuehub.org to learn more about both of these organizations. And you can also email us directly at info@animalrescuehub.org. And if you or someone you know has a story worth sharing, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, be kind to yourself and never underestimate the power of a tale and a little resilience.